Hello, my friends. Let me say welcome again to another episode of the SosoBone Media Network, archiving of our community and the individuals, organizations, projects, and views that we are looking to develop as we go forward into the new year. My name is Trevor Smith, and my special guest this afternoon is Dr. Smith. Now, just to keep us a little bit separated, I am Professor SosoBone.
That's
Dr.
funny.
Smith, I am going to ask you some very personal questions. And there are some people who are very afraid, say, when you go and do an interview with Trevor, just watch out. Because I'm going to ask you, what primary school did you go to?
I went to St. Joseph's Primary School in Duke Street.
Okay.
It's
That is
now called Aloysius.
all
But,
of which.
but when I went to school, it was St. Joseph Girls and Aloysius Boys. It was two separate schools.
Really?
But I went back recently and found out that it's only one school now, and it's called St. Aloysius, and it's both boys and girls.
Okay,
together.
so they have combined. Okay, great. And what high school now did you graduate from St. Aloysius and go to?
Okay, so I actually got a scholarship and went to Immaculate. But I only stayed at Immaculate for 1 year because I migrated to England.
Okay, and that's Immaculate on Constant Spring Road.
Immaculate High School and Constant Spring Road.
Okay,
yes.
so I've been
I was one of the few Black girls that went there at that time. Back then.
I was about to sort of scratch my head on that, because among all the students there, I know you had a lot of students from the Cayman Islands. Okay, because I know some of them.
There was a lot of the high yellows.
Yes, I know. Well, unfortunately for me, when I went to Titchfield, and I was going there, most of my teachers are high yellows too.
I guess it's a sign of the times.
Yes, they actually came down from England to teach us. Yes, those were the days.
Yes, it was.
So what was your experience in England like? Have you changed? Was there any cultural shock for you?
Absolutely.
Oh.
It started the minute I got off the plane.
So
I got off the plane and got in the car, and we lived in Leeds, so we weren't in London. We were in Leeds, Yorkshire, which is North England.
Okay.
And the cars driving, and I'm passing all these buildings that were brick and high. And I said to my mom, what a whole heap of factory them have. And she said, it's not factory. These are houses. That's where the people live. And I said, because, coming from Jamaica, we're used to our little low bungalow type houses.
Yes,
You're not used to no big brick buildings like that.
You were not used to the ants nest. Let's put it that way.
Oh my God. It was a culture shock. And it was winter time.
Oh, okay.
So that there was smoke coming out of all of these chimneys. There was snow on the ground. It was quite, I cried for many days.
Oh my goodness.
Many days to send me back to Jamaica to my grandmother. My nice, warm, sweet Jamaica. Send me back.
Listen, why am I getting this from? I got that from Claire Nelson, Dr. Claire Nelson. I got that from Ferd Khan, who was, dean at York College in New York for many, many years. Trevor, when she was in Chicago, when she came up, she cried. She wanted to go back home.
Right. I even used to make a little song. Then bring me from a sweet, sweet Jamaica. Come make me sleep between two columns. I want to go back to me sweet, sweet Jamaica. Oh my God. Every night I would sing.
I have been told that, that some of my interviews have caused some Jamaicans to scratch their head about coming to America.
Yeah, but that was my England experience.
Yes. Okay. So, what motivated you therefore to well, what university you went to after you got to England now?
All right. So I left, I got all my GCs in England,
Uh-huh.
and then I got pregnant at 17.
Okay.
So my mom says, "You're coming to America." Because my mom
Ah,
had left England and she was here in the US. She was in New York.
okay.
And so I came here, and when I got to New York and tried to pursue, because I always knew I wanted to be a doctor,
Uh-huh.
and I tried to pursue my career, they told me that my GCs were not acceptable.
Oh my goodness. Oh
So I
my
had to
goodness.
go back to school and redo it. So I actually um, did the high school equivalency diploma,
Uh-huh.
and then I got a job and started to work. And then I started to attend Bronx Community College at night.
Uh-huh.
And then from there, I went to Herbert Lehman College in the Bronx. And before I did all of that, actually, while I was doing that, I went to X-ray school for 2 years and
Uh-huh.
became an X-ray technician.
Uh-huh.
And so with that, I was working as a tech, an X-ray tech, and continued to go to school at nights.
Okay.
So I got my bachelor's degree from Herbert Lehman College, and eventually went on to go to medical school at Downstate in Brooklyn.
Good.
And so that's where I did my medical education.
Okay, so you actually lived the immigrant
I lived in,
experience.
I lived in the Bronx, but I went to medical school in Brooklyn.
Because at that time we would say that most of us who were going to school in New York, we were working and going to school,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
You know,
It was the only
and
way to go. You couldn't afford to pay without working, and you had
exactly.
to live.
And
Besides, how many Jamaicans don't have 10 jobs?
okay, now you're talking. When I talked to Dr. Nelson said at a certain point I realized, I said, Dr. Nelson, you have a split personality, because there's one that work and one that studied.
Absolutely. That is so true.
But yes, so having now decided that you're gonna go to medical school, what did you decide to pursue and why?
I actually knew I wanted to be a doctor since I was 5 years old.
Uh-huh.
I actually was on um the Jamaican Independence International Festival competition.
Oh my.
I was the keynote speaker, and I told
Uh-huh.
them a little bit of my story on that show about growing up in Jamaica and my desire to become a doctor since I was 5.
Uh-huh.
But of course, I didn't make it to medical school till I was 30 years old.
Uh-huh.
But I went in wanting to be a pediatrician. I always
Okay.
wanted to be a baby doctor because I wanted to be just like Dr. Manley. I don't know if you remember her. She used to
Mhm.
run the creche in Kingston. That was
Okay.
like the only public clinic that all the kids in Kingston went to.
Uh-huh.
It was right there by Racecourse, which is,
Mhm.
of course, not anywhere near there anymore. And I told my mom I wanted to be a doctor just like her.
And that was
And
Dr. Creech?
no, Dr. Manley.
Manley.
The clinic was called Creech.
Creech? Uh-huh.
But
And
it was Norman Manley's sister.
uh-huh.
She was a doctor there. She was the doctor that was running that clinic,
Yeah.
you
And
know.
I just wanted to get that part clearly documented.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
No, the clinic was called Creech,
Uh-huh.
but her name was Dr. Manley.
Yes.
And
And
she was one of those
yeah,
short,
but I'm gonna tell you
beautiful,
something. You might be the only one who have mentioned their name in the last 20 years.
probably.
That is why it is so important that these mentors, indirect or direct,
Yes.
okay, are recognized,
Mhm.
because sometimes people forgot what influenced them.
Yes. Oh, I
Okay.
haven't.
Yes. So
I have not.
I'm pleased to have that documented on this platform. Okay. So
Yes.
when you graduated, where did you serve your
my residency.
The residency.
So once I finished my medical school training,
Mhm.
I did my residency at Lincoln Hospital in the South Bronx.
Right.
Because I've always, I grew up in the ghettos of Kingston.
Good.
Okay. My earliest recollection was Jonestown. And from Jonestown, we went to Trenchtown. And from Trenchtown, we went to Charles Street, Beeson Street, Matches Lane. And I left from Matches Lane to go to England.
Yes.
And my mom was a beautician, a hairdresser, as they said back then. And she had her hairdressing parlor on Oxford Street.
Okay.
So that's the area that my foundation started.
So you actually grew up in the real Jamaica.
Absolutely. And that's what I tell everybody. I'm very proud and I'm not afraid to say so.
I mean, because I'll say this, and I've said it on more than one occasion, and I keep on repeating it, that the foundation of our community, a foundation of Jamaica, that's where the foundation is. And if that foundation is not strong, you can't build anything on it. Okay?
Absolutely.
So the Bob Marleys never came from Beverly Hills. Okay, the Peter Tosh and all the guys we talk about, the Upton Lewis and
I knew a lot of those people. I grew up with a lot of them.
Yes.
Running around the streets together, standing on the corner listening to Prince Buster's sound system on the corner and Coxsone and my mom said, "Get inside, come out here, you stand out here with the dirty boy them. Go inside."
You see, this is what I want to make sure that 25, 30 years from now, our children recognize, because they're at a certain point in time, they're gonna ask, where did we come from? And I'll tell you this, it's not from Barbican, Avondale, Red Hills, Beverly Hills, okay? That was the, as we said, the ILO.
You know, I'm glad you said that because last summer I took all my children and all my grandchildren and my in-law and my son-in-laws to Jamaica. And we've been to Jamaica before. They go to the hotels and the fancy places. And I said to them, we're gonna go to Kingston for 4 days, 5 days. And it was actually my husband's birthday, so he really wanted to do an island tour. So we did a complete tour, started in Montego Bay and went all the way around. But when I told them I was gonna go to Kingston, some of the people who were in the group with us said, "But the thing says you shouldn't go to Kingston and you shouldn't do this." And I said, look, this is for my kids and my grandchildren. I want them to see where I came from.
That's right.
And I'm not afraid to go there. And I don't want them to be afraid to go there. And so if you don't want to join us, that's okay. You don't have to come.
Yes.
Well, we had a bus of 50 people, 2 buses, total 50 people, 25 on each bus. And we went to, Preach was not there anymore, so I couldn't show them, but they went to Emancipation Park and, all of that. We drove through Jonestown. We went to Trenchtown. We actually visited the Trenchtown. No, they don't call it comprehensive school anymore. I think it's a polytech or something. But we actually went there and they treated us royally. But I had called and let them know we were coming because my first husband actually went to school there. And so I wanted his children to see where their dad went to school. It wasn't the exact building, but it was in the area. They were able to show them his school records. They had a ball looking at that. My grandson, who is named after him, said, "Now I know why I get a D in math." Because he wasn't good in math either, and I have his name. So, but I say that to say
DNA.
So we went to Trenchtown and did all the Trenchtown stuff, and we went downtown. We went to Matches Lane. We went to Carnation Market. We went to
yes,
Duke Street.
Carnation Market. I was about to say that if you don't go into the market, then you just
Oh
miss
no,
the boat.
but it's high tech now.
Okay.
There's nobody yelling onions, tomato.
Oh,
They have speakers.
oh my,
They have speakers.
so we
That's
can't
brought.
use it.
It's pre-recorded.
Oh, so they're playing Carmichael Instead Market and all those things that are quite
No,
much
they don't.
sell.
Because nobody's yelling what they're selling anymore. They have a big speaker box. Everybody, so it's still noisy, but
Okay.
it's different. But
Digital.
we went to all those places. I took them to St. Joseph's.
Uh-huh.
And they were allowed to go into the school so they could see it. So they had and now they said to me, says, you know what, Grandma? Now we understand. And I said, I want you to, and I want you to remember so that you can tell your children where your grandmother come from. Because what you see now is not what I was used to.
Uh-huh. I am so happy that you have brought this up because I have complained on so many occasions about us not carrying the African part of our culture deep into our community. Okay? So that when we're going to school, we're getting English history. We're not getting African history, even though we're all from Africa. Okay? I knew more about English history and Robin Hood and Romeo and Juliet and more than they never taught us any Black history more than how many when Marcus Garvey or Paul Bogle when they hang him, and of course I being from the Blue Mountain, the maroon part of it, we knew that we had a little nucleus up there that was regarded in history as being rebels. They would call them terrorists now, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
They actually would.
Yes, they would. So I am glad that, this part is identified as being so important, because I'm going to say this to you. There are people who listen to you who on their next trip to Jamaica will walk in your footprints, because most of the time someone has to lead.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And that's the response I get for most of these interviews, because that is why they call me SosoBone. I cut the fat and I get down to the bone. Okay. So I am so happy that you're able to at least stress how important that was to you and to expose that to your children. Because if you don't know where you're coming from, you really don't.
And we've all strived to elevate ourselves and to move up from wherever we started. But if you don't remember where you started, and if you don't share that with somebody else, my grandchildren now, I told them I'm not putting up any Christmas lights this year because I'm going away. You know what my granddaughter said? Granny, you have to. The people think we got poor.
You remind me of my sister. My younger sister.
I mean, really?
My younger sister, Novelet, because we'll be talking, and she said to me, I never know we were poor until I came to America.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Yes. Oh,
we didn't know because everybody around you had the same boat.
Yes. And we were so happy.
Happy as a lark. Happy as a lark. And that's what I told him. I said, that's why you have to go to Jamaica.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm glad. You see, the diaspora has a responsibility to pass on the memories that we have to our second and third generation. Okay? I'm talking to my son, and he's telling me how he finally taught his wife, his wife finally learned how to make dumpling.
Oh, my grandkids make a
took her a while, but now she can make dumpling without worrying about it, because we talk about those things and they see those things as being a part of our culture. regardless of how much carbohydrate it might have, you got your pizza,
Oh
we have
yeah.
dumpling,
Oh
okay?
yes.
So those,
Mhm.
and we have our yellow yam, and because of it, we win so many races when we run, okay?
That is so
I
true.
can't, I can't even buy 4 pounds of yellow yam when I go to the supermarket. I only have to buy 2 pounds.
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
$4.99 a pound.
Exactly.
You know,
Yeah, that it is. That
so,
it is.
so
Mhm.
that is the responsibility we have. That
Mhm.
when we're talking to each other, we have to communicate the way we want our children to listen to us. You know, it's gonna be crazy if our children have to go to school to go and learn Jamaican history, okay?
Mhm.
It's gonna be it's gonna be shameful. And you know that they're not teaching Black history in this country
No,
anymore.
no. So it's really on us to be able to pass that information on to them because they're not gonna get it.
Yes,
They're not gonna get it anywhere.
yes. And I have that repetition. That's why I said I like to show people where
Mhm.
we're coming from. Because at a certain point, they understand now that they have to be, when we go 5 rung on the ladder, they are not starting from 1, they're
Exactly.
starting from number 6.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
And
so
so,
whatever's below that, they don't remember.
right, and at the same time, they have a sense of pride in the fact that they are standing on the shoulders of their parents. Okay, like we talk about Marcus Garvey, we talk about Sojourner Truth, we talk about Shirley Chisholm, we talk about Paul Bogle. We all look and celebrate, and make national heroes out of the people who have been mentioned as contributing to where we find ourselves now, either mentally, physically, in in any capacity. When
Mm-hmm.
we look back, we realize that somewhere along the line, somebody laid a brick, and,
Absolutely.
and our job is to build on it brick by brick.
Fabric.
And if the foundation is strong and well laid, you can go many layers. You can build a skyscraper
Mm-hmm.
on top of a good foundation. So, where did you start? When did you, I would say, wander into the world of nonprofits
Mm.
work? Because I look at everything, and when it takes you to the place where you start volunteering, when you start giving back, that is a whole different plateau. Okay, a whole different plateau. So I want to know,
So
did you get
in my
along that trail?
particular case,
Uh-huh.
in my case, in my 4th year of medical school,
Mhm.
I had the opportunity to do I forgot what the subject was called, what they call that, but you could go to an underserved country for 6 weeks
Uh-huh.
to do community service and actually get medical school credits for it.
Okay.
So the opportunities were afforded to Haiti, Jamaica, and Kenya.
Uh-huh.
But we didn't have a choice as to which one we got to go. You just applied and see what happened.
Got posted.
So there was, my class was the class wasn't small. The class was 235, but there
Uh-huh.
were 13 minorities.
Uh-huh.
So we knew each other. So
Uh-huh.
we all decided that and in my group, we had, well, there's probably about 6 Jamaicans that was in my batch, but like 4 of us were really close. And so we said, let's put it in. Maybe they'll send all 4 of us to Jamaica
Okay.
and we can just go and have a good time, you know,
Free vacation.
a free vacation. Well, we applied and one of the guys got sent to Haiti. And my best girlfriend and I and one other person got to go to Jamaica. So we thought,
Uh-huh.
oh, good, the 3 of us gonna have fun. When we got there,
Mhm.
Dr. Minot He was in charge of the preventative medicine department in
Okay.
Jamaica.
Mhm.
I think it was Wilmot. I don't remember his first name, but it was Minot.
Mhm.
And he looked at us and he said, he must have said to himself, oh, these three look like they come here to have fun. I'm going to fix them.
They think this is a vacation, right?
So he split us up.
Uh-huh.
And so he sent two of us to Lincoln, Manchester,
Uh-huh.
and one to Prattville,
Uh-huh.
Manchester. Now,
Mhm.
this is back when we didn't have no telephones, it was none of that. So
Mhm.
there's no way that we could even communicate with each other. But we're good. We'll find a way. But anyway, so that's the very first night
Mhm.
we got there. We got our first adventure.
Uh-huh.
We don't know nothing. We're medical students. We're not doctors yet.
Uh-huh.
But we got there early and we sat around and there was a lot of student paperwork that other students had left there. So, we read a few things about Jamaica medicine and stuff. Middle of the night, bang, bang, bang on the door.
Mhm.
Doctor, come quick, come quick, come quick. Which doctor they talking about? Which So there was the three of us. There was the two from my medical school.
Mhm.
There was one person from the UE, and there
Uh-huh.
was another white girl from Alabama. I wish I could remember that lady's name. I cannot remember her name for anything.
Mhm.
But I'll come back to that. But the three of us came together and we said, okay, we're gonna have to go. We don't know what we're gonna do, but
Do you remember their names? Your friends' names?
oh, yes, I'm going to tell you about one of them in a
Okay.
minute. But anyway, so we came together, we took out our ophthalmoscope. That's the thing we used to use, look in the ears. That's the
Yes.
only light we had.
Mhm.
I mean, a little light like this. So we put
Yes.
all
This is the
four
light. This is the
and we're
light
going. We
of
said,
mine.
so how far? And the girl said, round the corner.
Yes. Okay. And you learn what round the corner mean now.
We went through the valley, down the hill, round the corner, through the cow patch. But we got there eventually. And once we got there, there was blood everywhere from the doorway and I thought, oh God, somebody got murdered, whatever. Long story short, it turned out that this person attempted an abortion in their
Oh,
house and she was bleeding out profusely.
oh my.
Well, there was really not a whole lot that we actually could do. We took her vital signs, saw what her blood pressure was, put her in, elevate her legs, asked them if they had um, any coconut water, because we learned very quickly that day that coconut water was the best rehydration solution.
Uh-huh.
So the lady said no, she could go outside and get some. So she got them. We said, is there anybody with a car? Because she has to go to the hospital. And we're
Uh-huh.
up in the hills of Manchester.
Mhm.
So anyway, Mr. So-and-so from around the corner came with his pickup truck and we
Okay.
propped this woman up in the back of the pickup truck. One
Mhm.
person sitting there keeping her legs up high
Mhm.
and pumping her full of drinking because we couldn't do no IVs and nothing, the coconut water.
Mhm.
And she went to the hospital.
Mhm.
The next morning, we got this beautiful big basket of fruits and vegetables from the
Paid,
family
paid
and
in
a
full.
letter from the doctor saying that we saved her life.
Oh my. Oh my.
And we were the biggest things in Lincoln, Manchester for the rest of the 6 weeks we were there. We never bought food. They were just so grateful.
Village hospitality. Yes.
Yes. And so my girlfriend, who is still my best girlfriend today, she said, Yvonne,
What was her
what
name?
was Karen Costley?
Her name Karen Koski.
Karen Costley.
Okay.
And the other guy that was from our school was Noel Beckford.
Noel Beckford. Okay.
Yes. And the person from Jamaica, one of them was Melton. I cannot remember his last name, but we're
Mm,
gonna find him because we're going to
okay.
Jamaica for the mission in October, and we've
Okay.
made our decision that we're going to try to find him.
Okay.
And the other one is Derek Harvey. And I'm gonna tell you, Derek Harvey is now, I don't know if it's the CMO, HMO, or whatever at Cornwall Regional Hospital.
In Jamaica.
Yes.
Okay.
He's one of the head honchos over there.
Okay.
And it was by chance we were in Jamaica on one of our missions that we didn't talk about yet.
Uh-huh.
And we took a tour of Cornwall Regional Hospital.
Mhm.
And as we were going through the ICU, I heard his voice, didn't see him.
Oh
And I
my.
said, there's only one person that I know with that voice. And as soon as I was talking to Mr. Martin, and
Uh-huh.
I said, Vin, I know this voice. I know. And I turned and the person said, Yvonne Armstrong.
Oh boy.
And it was the person that I did that 4th-year elective with.
Oh boy, that was
So we kind of
beautiful.
had a reunion from that.
That was
But
beautiful.
yes, but
That was
that's kind of what got me started.
uh-huh.
And then for the mission in Atlanta,
Uh-huh.
I had another girlfriend who was a pediatrician.
Uh-huh.
Um, Wendy, what was Wendy's maiden name? Everybody knows Wendy because her mom was a big GYN person in Jamaica.
Mhm.
Oh Lord, it'll come back to me.
Okay.
But she called me from Atlanta and said, would you like to go on a mission trip to Jamaica with me? Oh, we'll work half a day and then we can go to the beach in the afternoon. What
Uh-huh.
a lie that was. And that was the sister cities, the Atlanta Montego Bay sister cities. And that's how I started with them
So,
in
so, sound like
1995.
sound like when I used to go fishing and I put the bait in front of the fish and tell them it's a vacation, they're gonna come on.
And
Okay.
so that's how I got started with
So
that.
you
But I've
started
always had a love for people.
so you started with Atlanta, Montego Bay Sister Cities group from you in New York.
Yes.
Okay.
1995. They
Okay.
started, they started, Vin revived the organization in
Yes.
1993.
Mm-hmm.
And I joined them from New York in 1995.
Uh-huh.
Then I moved to Atlanta, and that's a whole another book. I moved to Atlanta in 97,
Okay.
and almost immediately by 1998, he made me medical director.
Wow. Well, you see, I mean, I did a lot of things with Vin, and well as some of the other members of, Atlanta Montego Sisters, people like Marjorie Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
Nevlin,
Mm-hmm.
among other people. Many
Mm-hmm.
times, well, on one occasion, I remember we were packing barriers when the team was going down with all the different
Mm-hmm.
medical
Medicines.
medicines
Mm-hmm.
that were collected. So
Mm-hmm.
yes, I have always had a strong appreciation for the group and the fact that Atlanta and Montego Bay are sister cities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that more than anything else, how long has the group been in functioning now?
Okay, so the twinning took
Uh-huh.
place in 1973. The
Uh-huh.
original twinning of
Okay.
Atlanta and Montego Bay was back in 1973. But I think for a while there, it lay dormant and nothing was happening with it. And
Uh-huh.
so in 93 was when Mr. Martin and Dr. Andre Williams, Marjorie Wilson, and a few others in that group and a Jamaican contingent came together and says, look, we need to do something.
Uh-huh.
And so they started out as a health fair. Their
Uh-huh.
first thing, they were going to do a health fair in Montego Bay. And so I think they only had like one doctor, Marjorie's a nurse, and
Uh-huh.
there was another doctor, Metty Scarlett Jones, who lived in Montego Bay, and
Uh-huh.
her husband,
Mm.
Pauline Erskine, and there's a few of them that in that first group.
Uh-huh.
And so they pretty much did, blood pressures and, gave out a few pamphlets and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And gradually it started to grow. I remember the first year I went from New York and joined them
Mhm.
directly in Jamaica. I brought 24 pairs of eyeglasses. And
Okay.
they laughed at me because I didn't know the group. I
Mhm.
only knew one person,
Mhm.
Dr. Wendy Bernard.
Bernard, okay.
Bernard. She was my friend and she invited me to come.
Mhm.
And they looked at me and they said, what are you going to do with them the glasses? Nobody don't want them.
Mhm.
And I said, okay.
Wake up and smell the coffee.
I said, you guys have an ophthalmologist coming? And they said, yes.
Mhm.
And I said, okay, I'll give them to him.
Mhm.
The first thing that came out of that man's mouth when he came into the hall was, did you guys bring eyeglasses?
Uh-huh. And
And
everybody,
everybody turned around.
oh
Everybody turned
yes.
around and looked at me. No, they
Uh,
didn't say that. They all turned around and looked at me. And I said, I brought a couple of pairs that I collected, from family and friends. And he said, oh,
uh-huh.
give it to me.
Mhm.
And so he took them. I
Mhm.
saw a child. She must have been about maybe 9 or 10. She was 11 because, Jamaicans are small. So, you can't really tell.
Uh-huh.
And she couldn't read
Uh-huh.
because she couldn't see.
Okay.
And so I said to her, I'm going to take you up to the eye doctor, but I don't know that he's going to have anything to give you, but maybe he can give you a prescription. And if your parents can afford it, they can go get you some glasses.
Mhm.
So I left her up there. I came down and finished my day's work, And by the way, we didn't finish at 12 o'clock. We were there till 6:30 in the evening. And
You mean never got to the beach?
no, and we were packing up and I saw the girl coming out. And I said, oh my God, you've been here all day. Did you get to see the doctor? And she said, yes, ma'am. And I said, well, so what happened? She says, I got some glasses. And I said, really? She opened her bag and I promise you the glasses she had were bigger
Yeah.
than the ones I have on my face right now.
But
On
you could
her
see.
little tiny face. But here's
Mm.
this. Yeah, she looked like Urkel. She said to me, I said, aren't those a little big for you? Her response to me was, yes, ma'am, but I can see now
But I can see.
and I can do my lessons.
Oh, yes.
I made it a pledge from then on that I was going to collect as many eyeglasses as I could
Oh,
going on that mission. And
yes.
that was really my first mission, real mission trip. And I have been stung ever since.
When I talk about the fact that I grew up on a farm.
Mhm,
So I look at everything through the eyes of a farmer. And yes, they say I'm a marketing something or another, but I tell them I learned marketing on the farm.
mhm,
If you plant a seed, you water it, you nurture it, you
mhm.
fertilize it, you mulch it, and it grows.
Yes,
That's
yes.
marketing.
Mhm.
It grows. Okay, so yes, when that seed got planted in you, there's only one thing it could do
Let's grow.
is
Mhm.
grow.
Yep,
It's grow. So,
absolutely.
I mean, diaspora doesn't get enough chance to tell their story. You know, I am I preach that I don't criticize, I only analyze
Mm.
because I see and know so many people who are doing things out of their own art, not because they have an organization, not because anybody told them to do it, not because they're getting paid to do it. They just they start a soup kitchen out of their house because the neighbor next door's kids had no food, and before you know it, they were feeding the whole street.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
Especially in the summer when the kids are out of school and they're not getting school lunch.
Mhm.
Okay, and parents leave and they're going to work at 7 in the morning and come at 7 at night. In between that time, it takes a village to raise a child.
It does.
And that is something that we have to um I when I say we, I think in terms of the organizations
Mhm.
that they are a little bit one track because they see what other people are doing that has been successful and they all copy it. So everybody gives scholarship.
Oh,
Everybody's giving scholarship.
well, can I just tell you about our scholarships? when we decided to, so I've been the medical director now since 99. I took 2 years out when I told Mr. Martin I was done. And he
Uh-huh.
said, no, you can't be. But
Mm,
I took 2 years out because I was studying for my boards. And
uh-huh.
I told him I couldn't do both.
Mm,
But although I wasn't on paper as the medical director for those 2 years, I was still doing the work.
mm. I remember you then, but you're skinny. But go ahead.
I'm still skinny, but they
25 years
started out,
ago,
they
okay?
wanted to do the scholarships. And so we started to get letters from different schools and what have you.
Uh-huh.
And so we did the scholarships and we gave $500 to the high schoolers to help with bus fare and lunch and what
Uh-huh.
have you. And I sat with Vin one day and we were talking, and I said to him, you know, you're not helping these kids. So you give them $500, and yes, it helps them with a taxi and it helps them with that. What happens next year if somebody doesn't give them something?
Band-Aid. Band-Aid.
Then they can't continue because now they can't go to school because they don't have lunch money and they don't have what. I said, if we're going to do this, we're going to have to ramp up our fundraisers, and we're going to stop looking at chicken dinners to be able to fund this organization. We're going to have to do more. And he said, you know, Yvonne, you're right, you know. So what do you think? And he and I used to sit and put our heads together all the time. And so we've been doing our scholarship program now. God, I lost count. But any student that we get, we carry them for the full 4 years,
Uh-huh.
as long as they maintain their grades and
Uh-huh.
as long as they continue to meet the requirements that we set.
Yes.
We got calls from a couple of university students who asked if we could help them. Maybe they were in their final year and they were struggling, they couldn't,
Uh-huh.
whatever. And so to date, we've had 4 university students that we've taken through, 2 of whom are doctors, 1 went into international affairs and what have you. And currently, we have 5 students at the high school level. 1 is on the Vin Martin Memorial Scholarship, which is funded by the Martin family, and the
Uh-huh.
other 4 are funded by sister cities. We have 3 students at the university level, 1 who's studying medicine, and that's a, nah, I won't say what I really wanted to say.
Mm.
She's in her 5th year, and the
Uh-huh.
tuition is 28,000 US dollars
For a
per
semester.
year.
Oh, for a year. Well,
Per
yeah.
28,000, no, 6 3 18, 6, no, 20, yeah, 28,000 a year
Well,
for 5 years.
I can well understand that because my son actually went to the Rochester School of Medicine, and thank the good Lord he got a Wilson scholarship. Okay, but even then it only take you maybe 75% of the way.
Absolutely.
Okay, I served with my former consul general in New York, Jenny Brown Mesper. She's running the nonprofit American Caribbean Maritime Foundation for the CMU, both in
I've heard that.
Jamaica, Trinidad, and Bahamas, and that she does that full time from she left the consulate. And yes, CMU scholarships is $17,000 for the students with when you give them a scholarship, and you have to give them a 4-year scholarship. Otherwise,
Mhm.
you put them.
It's no point.
There's no point. You see.
There's no
You see,
point.
and that is why I said that when I talk, I said the organizations they mean good, and I respect them, and I've always supported them. As a matter of fact, in 2017 at the ball, I was the recipient of the Vin Martin Scholarship from the Atlantic Jamaican Association.
I was probably there because I go
Yes,
to all
you're
their
there.
events.
Yeah, I know you're there. I'm saying this, so I am, and I reside in Atlanta, back from New York after 12 years when I had to go. But I am hoping that this platform, that as we spoke earlier, will be something of, it presents more examples
Mhm.
and more options to our people and to our organizations, because I am not going to say that they all know of something different to do. They
Mhm.
see what one organization does and they think it's great, and they all fall into the same footprint. But at the same time, even when it comes to community support, I represented a company that was a Jamaican company in New York, and we pumped a lot of resources into the community, including Atlanta Jamaican Association and all those places. But at the same time, with the growing list of organizations, you go from
And they
having
don't come to them.
5 to 10 to 30 to 40, and they all knock on the same door because they have not developed different
Avenues.
avenues.
And that is something that, if you notice, we try as hard as we can not to knock on the same doors,
Right.
because I think it's unfair to always be hitting on the Royal Caribbean Bakery,
Yes.
Golden Cross.
Mhm.
There are just certain ones, Hartsfield Jackson International Airport.
Oh, yes, with Arlene, bro. In New York,
The,
it was Tower Isle and Roy and
yes.
Caribbean Food Delights.
And so we've tried and have been successful
Mhm.
to seek other avenues
Mhm.
to help us, because our budget is not a small budget.
Not at all. When it comes to that, what you do, no.
I can tell you, last year our expense for 2024 was $76,062.
I would like you to repeat it, because I like big budget for nonprofits, because it actually motivates our people to give more when they realize that you really have a you really
You
have
would think that, but there is a thing among us as a people. For example, when you have an event and you set a price for the event, the first question is, so what are we going to get for that? Oh,
Ah,
I'm going to get another chicken dinner,
and
or another,
and
or who's the entertainer?
my philosophy is, one, I do not know why every time we have an event we think we have to feed people. I do not know why.
Because they expect it.
And that is because all the organizations falls into the same trap. I remember years ago when Sunshine Entertainment used to come up from Florida, and we used to have events at the Performing Arts Center in Morrow at the Pack. When they would bring in a Oliver or some other entertainer, there was no food.
Right.
Okay.
But it was a concert.
But well, and my point is, there's no sense in raising $20,000 and $10,000 walk out the door, go back home in people's belly. Okay, I mean, it is madness.
I say that, and I
Okay.
hear you, and that's been my soapbox for a long time. And I
Well, you
know
see,
that some people don't like it.
well, you see, I am SosoBone, I cut the fat, and I have the platform. Okay, I have the public platform to tell them that they need to wake up and smell the coffee. And when they raise money for a nonprofit, don't eat out most of it.
And I say that because at our events, I always tell them it is not a fun, FUN raiser. It's a fund, FUND raiser.
Right.
So we're here to raise funds. And,
Right.
I've heard comments where people will say, she always talking about money. Well, that's why you're there. We can't
Yes.
do what we do if we don't have money.
That's right.
if you pay a hotel $55 a person to feed somebody, there is no way that you can charge $100
Right. You know?
because more than half of that $100 is going just for the food.
Uh-huh.
And then you want to have an entertainer. The entertainers don't come free. You have to pay them. You have to
But
pay for their airline. You have
but,
to pay for a hotel.
but you know what is strange, Dr. Smith? That when a nonprofit does something, they want to eat it out. But when a business does something, when they come to the jerk fest and they pay $25 to come through the gate, nobody don't accept if I'm getting a chicken dinner out of it. Okay. When you
Or when you go see Buju
when you
Banton
go
or
to
Beres
Buju,
Hammond,
yes, no, nobody. Am I gonna get?
$300 a ticket.
And they don't get a beer or a soft drink out of it. You will have vendors on the side, and if you want to get a chicken or a fish,
You go pay for it.
you better pay for it. And we need, and I'm saying this publicly because I have been putting pressure where I can to say, listen, stop giving away what you
The
say is a
profit.
donation. If you want to make a donation, what you get is a tax write-off. That's all you're entitled to. Okay?
Oh, and that's another.
Write-off.
I'm glad you said that because a lot of people think that because they bought a ticket that they can claim that on their taxes because we're a nonprofit, and they
No.
don't realize that they got a service for that money. So
They
it's
got the
not a
full benefit.
donation.
They got the full benefit, and especially if they got food to boot,
It's not a donation.
it's not a donation. And
Mhm.
I say this with understanding that we don't have a lot of platforms where this type of discussion takes place, where we
Mhm.
can actually speak to our people frankly. Okay?
Mhm.
And so that I'm not here to hurt your feelings. I'm here to let you understand that, I mean, when you invest in something, you can be proud of it.
Absolutely.
But when you eat the food and go home, you cannot look back and ask, where did the money go? It went through you.
Mhm.
Okay? And I need them to learn to listen to our nonprofits, respect their nonprofits, and support their nonprofits. I have been pushing that nonstop, and I know eventually it's gonna, they're gonna stand up proudly and accept that.
And the challenge that we have, most of the other nonprofits, especially here in Atlanta, a lot of them are affiliated with like high schools. It's like
Right.
they're high school this or the alumni association. And so maybe they make a pledge to put on a building, start a library, something of that nature. But what we do, medications are not cheap.
Not at all.
And we give it to the people for free.
Listen.
This year, we have our gala coming up, and it's gonna be September 20th at the Marriott Marquis. And the push for us this year is cancer awareness. Last year, for the first time, well, it's not the first time, but last year, for the first time, we've added paying for mammograms for women to get screened for breast cancer. We're also paying for PSAs for the men for the prostate cancer. We've always done pap smears. So we just increased the numbers. And so this year, it went so well last year that we were able to do 125 women got screened with mammogram. 95 women got pap smears and 65 men got their PSAs done. Of the pap smears, we got 9 that had abnormal paps that was referred for additional. And for the men, there was 9 men that had highly elevated PSAs that were also referred out. So for this upcoming mission, we're hoping to expand those numbers. And we've partnered with a woman who has a foundation. She's a breast cancer survivor herself, called Feed the Fight. Feed the Fight Foundation. And so what she actually does is she goes to churches and community events and speak about the importance of screening. And so what we'd like to do for this upcoming year is to be able to leave her some of those paid vouchers, so that when she
Okay.
talks to these people and she finds somebody who really needs to go get one, she can escort them and pay for it.
Okay.
And so that's not cheap. That is
Okay.
not cheap. And so we have to be, you know, good stewards with our money so that we can accommodate the things that we want to do.
You see, the problem, I think, most and foremost is that most of the organizations that we have who are doing these charitable work, they are not showcased like the music and the artist and, you know, all of that stuff, and the athletes. And so they're below the radar. And I want to make sure that they do not stay below the radar, not only for our community, our local community, but for the international community. Okay? Because when we look at large nonprofits like the Red Cross,
Epilepsy Foundation,
cancer, they're very visible.
everywhere.
And so we have a problem with the lack of visibility. And that is something I hope to, you know, to be able to address with these sit-down conversations, as I say, we have with people in our community, because I have been in Atlanta since 1999, and I will tell you this, and I will challenge you. You can go to DeKalb County, go to College Park, go down to any of the places where you have a good Caribbean population or Jamaican population, and you see 10 people and you ask them, have you ever heard of the Atlanta Jamaican Association? 5 of them are going to say no. What do they do? Not because it is not functioning, but because it is not visible.
Publicized. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. It's not a it's not a criticism up here of what they do. It's a fact that Acres of Diamonds says you can have all the diamonds in your backyard and you don't know it's there, and you go all the way to the mountain to dig diamonds, and the guy you sell your farm to, he goes in the back to plant potatoes and he's digging
And
up
found
diamonds.
it and dig up your diamonds. Absolutely. But
Okay.
it's true. You know, one of the things that how should I say this? I find that a lot of the organizations here in Atlanta, they don't support each other.
Okay. Yes.
And I find that myself, because I used to push myself to try to go to a lot of these events. I would even donate of my own funds to some of them. And then when I look at when we have an event and to see how many of them,
you don't see them.
I don't see them.
Okay.
And that is for me, that is very discouraging. You know, as our organization, out of my own pocket, not necessarily Sister City's money, I will purchase a table at an event and I'll invite our members to come and sit. Right? And I tell you, to get some of these organizations to attend, maybe they'll buy one person will buy a ticket, but I have yet to see somebody come out and say, AJA is going to buy a table. This organization is going to buy a table. That organization, never. Never. They will come and they'll say every member is going to purchase their own ticket, but we want to sit together at a table.
Right. And then they want a discount because they sit at the table, at that table. Listen, I'm very familiar with them. I have chaired the Independence Ball when I was with, years ago when I was vice president with the Atlanta Jamaican Association, among other things. So I know all about that. And Vin Martin was instrumental in us, bringing Hugh Joa together, getting the group together so that they could
They
work
could
together.
come.
I am advocate for them in New York, among other places, not to do individual events, but for a collective. 3 or 4 of them get together and do an event together. So you only pay the hotel one time, you only pay the DJ one time, and yes, you only sell your individual tickets, but when all is said and done, you look at the budget and you contribute to, you contribute to equally to the budget for hotel and DJ. It's your responsibility now to go out there and sell as many tickets as possible under the umbrella of your organization. And if you do that, then a lot of the money is going to stay with us instead of 6 different organizations having 6 different events. I remember years ago, this consul general in New York told me that based on the amount of invitations they receive at the consulate to attend events, and the average number of people, 200 to 250, that attend the events, when they calculate it, we were paying in excess of $2 million a year to the hotels in New York. Just to the hotels in New York. Okay. So our community is not, I don't think they're aware of some of the data, because I think some of them are educated enough, smart enough, that when they realize that the data brands them as not too smart, maybe they will start changing. Because I am prepared to be an activist when it comes to analyzing the data and making recommendations. Okay. I interviewed Dr. Trevor Dixon, to Jaja Foundation,
I watched it.
a couple of months back. He actually just got an order of distinction from the government of Jamaica this year. Okay, and in support, in recognition of the Jaja Foundation. I am more interested, however, in having a recognition that goes to organizations than to individuals, because if we do that, then maybe we will stop having this me, and have more we. Okay, so this is why I always ask, who are the people that you're working with in your organizations? Who are your committee members? Who are your chairs? Just so that people understand that we're talking about a collective, and at the same time, people have to understand where our leadership originated from, because I like to say, people don't buy product, they buy people. If I come to the doctor and I don't like him, it doesn't see me again. I'm looking around. I go to a barber shop and I don't like the barber. I'm still shopping. Hairdresser is the same thing. Supermarket is the same thing. Okay. So it's important, therefore, that we can showcase our people, let people understand that they're doing things out of a heart that a seed has grown without their control. You're not doing things deliberately. You're doing things spontaneously. Okay, because that is how you have grown. Some people have grown up to be very selfish. Some people give it the shirt off their back. Okay, and whether we like it or not, that's a composition of our community. Okay, and
That is so true.
we all like to say that we believe in Jesus, and we all go to church every Sunday or every Saturday. And I hate to talk about my uncle, but he's dead now, so he doesn't mind, because he was because he was always preaching at me, and I would always, throwing analytics data at him. And one time I said to him, "Okay, Uncle Jim, tell me something. On your way to America to go to church, did you pass any homeless person on the street?" The homeless. I said, yes. Jesus saw homeless people. Jesus saw sick people. Jesus saw hungry people. Jesus saw blind people. Since you're following his footsteps, Uncle, Did you have your eyes open on your way to church?
Mhm.
We didn't
Mhm.
have too much conversation after that.
I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't. I bet you
Okay.
didn't.
So
And you
I'm
know,
just saying
and that
that
a lot of times they, you were talking about tapping into different sources and stuff. One person, one organization sees that somebody gets a donation or something from somebody else, and maybe it's a big donation. Oh, well, maybe we should go ask them next time.
oh, the first thing they want is your brochure. They go through your brochure and they take your brochure home and okay, these are the people that are supporting organizations. In New York, in Washington, in Baltimore, you hear the same story from everyone that they take the brochure and then they start knocking on the same doors.
And
Okay?
the truth of the matter is, we don't we don't do we don't sell ads for our
Right,
programs. We refuse to. I'm Number one, I'm not going to sit down and take a quarter page and a business card and a whatever. And so we don't do that. We have a journal and we ask people for sponsorship. I wouldn't even call it sponsorship, for supporters. We do not even call them sponsorship because a sponsor pays for something,
right,
okay? Or they give you a lump sum to take care of something.
right,
All right. It's not that they're getting a table and they're giving you X amount for their ads or what have you. And so you look through and like you said, and oh, this one's maybe I can write to that one. No. So in our brochures, when you look at our programs, you'll see full page ad, and they probably wonder, how come they only have all full page ad? It's the way we approach what we do.
right,
It's
right,
the way we approach what we do and how we choose to recognize the people who support us.
right. And that is the right way. Just yesterday, I was speaking to one of my president of one of the organizations, and they said, Tripper, we need a sponsor. I said, the way to get a sponsor is not to go and look for the sponsor, it's for the sponsor to come actually looking
And
for you,
find you
try to find you. Okay.
somebody who knows what you're doing,
Yes.
somebody who appreciates what you're doing and
Yes.
understands what you're doing,
Yes.
you know, and you have to be able to tell them and show them what
Yes.
it is that you're doing for them to be say, oh my God, I didn't know you did all of that. Oh my God, I didn't know so and
That's
so.
right.
If you can't show me and tell me what it is that you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm not so quick to put my money on. I had a little girl come in my office yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and her mom, she's graduating from high school, getting ready to go to college, and her mom brought me a letter. And the gist of the whole thing is she was looking for funding to help her to go to Japan for study abroad or something. So when I got into the room and, I did my thing and took care of the child, so I said to her, so what are you going to Japan to do? Have you identified a school, a program, or something? No. So what are you going to Japan? I said, if I am going to invest my money into you, I have to have some idea of what kind of a program you're going to get involved with. How is this thing structured? Because I'm not just going to throw my money to
Ah,
some place. They couldn't, neither the mother nor the child could give me any idea. It wasn't a formal thing like from her school to say the school's going on a trip and blah, blah,
right.
blah. So
Mm-hmm.
I said to her, does your school offer a, work that she says, yeah, but I don't want to go with them.
Really?
Because everybody who's gone on it says it's no this and I said, okay, when you get your act together and you know exactly what it is that you
Talk to me.
want to do and you have a program and a plan, come back and I'll talk to you.
Exactly. And it is so common because I speak to people along the same line. I have interviewed the president of UJOA, in New York, Donovan Wilson, among other people, talk about your and even before we start recording, sometimes I don't bring the problems into the recording, but because I know them from my observation or from the data. But there's so many times when I see organizations or people who decide they want to do something. And when they decide they want to do something, they're looking for somebody else to pay for it. Okay? So they want to put on this event and they want to honor these people. So, okay. So how do you plan? What is your budget like? Oh, we know I'm going to try to raise some money to do this. I would like to say that if you want to say you're going to do some farming, I'm going to ask you if you have the land to farm. And having said that, I understand that, since you have the land, that farming is the next step. But you're promising or you're developing an idea to do something, but you do not plan to put your own money into it. No, they don't have any money to put into it.
For sister cities, I can say this is that we have long-term goals in what we're doing. So it used to be a time earlier in the organization where we had to rely on the funding that's made at that event to pay for that year's mission. We've gone way past that. We've gone way past that because as the chairperson and medical director, because I actually have to wear two hats, because since Mr. Martin passed in 2014, I assumed his position as well as my own position that I had as medical director. And I've been trying for these 11 years to try to get somebody else to step into one of those roles. And it's not happening.
It's not happening.
It's not happening. But what I tell them as a group, if my name is going to be on any of this, it's going to be done in decency and in order.
Accountability.
That's just me, because you're never going to hear Dr. Smith did or said or didn't.
That's right.
Whatever it is that we're doing as an organization has to be done correctly.
Well, as I said, the Atlanta sister cities, they were way in advance of all the other medical missions that are going to Jamaica right now.
And and we don't get we don't get the recognition.
And that is why I said that is part of the problem we have, in that our community, they do not see the forests for the trees. Yes. And
it's not just the Jamaican community.
No.
In Jamaica, the same thing.
Yes.
We were there through COVID. The whole time, you'll never see anything that we were there. Yeah. Although we provided oxygen equipment to Cornwall Regional, Falmouth, Hanover hospitals. We were down there. We were back down there during COVID for the schools, where we provided over 500 laptop computers and tablets to 13 different schools in the Montego Bay area, along with people at the university. We don't call any newspaper to tell them what we're doing, because that's not why we're doing it.
Right.
That's not the reason. This past year, our last mission, we went to the infirmary in Montego Bay. And we've always supported them, with equipment and stuff. But they built them a brand new facility, okay? And we were told that they wanted them to move the old stove and the old refrigerator into this brand new building. The stove had 2 burners that was working.
Oh boy.
To feed all of those people who are in the infirmary.
New wine into old wine bottles.
You know what we did? We went right downtown. We bought them a 6-burner Vulcan stove and a industrial refrigerator and had it delivered. They had an opening for that facility and talked about the state of the art equipment, but nobody ever mentioned that it came from us.
Yes. And I've heard many of those stories.
And we're not doing it for that. But I'm
No.
just saying, you know, that's
And,
where our monies go.
and this is why I said that, you know, our network is it is a SosoBone media network. We recognize we recognize the inadequacy on the part of media, especially where the diaspora is concerned. Okay, because even as you say, the diaspora has twice the population of Jamaica. They do not pay. They do not. It's not recognized.
No.
I used to do radio in Georgia years ago, Future Movement Radio with Pat Backus in the Cage. I was a coach with the program with Winston Tucker. Okay. And yes, we would always have different people from Jamaica would come into the diaspora without them on the radio stations. But I was always cognizant of one fact, that when the government of Jamaica is putting their budget together, there is not a line item on the budget that says diaspora. Okay? They spend no money in the diaspora. And every time a mission comes up from Jamaica, whether it be stock exchange or BM or JN, you name it, they always say that they're coming to the diaspora to get money back to Jamaica, invest Jamaica, what they call it. And they brag every year about the $4 billion in remissions that comes to Jamaica. And how Jamaica supports the diaspora supports 40% of the economy. But when they're doing their budget, there is not a line item for the diaspora. Every parish and every constituency will have a line item as to what goes into those parishes, whether it be for roads or for schools or for hospitals or for whatever reason. But they cannot identify a service that they provide to the diaspora that they are willing to pay for. And don't talk about the consulate, because they're about the passports. They're there to make money. Okay? And I'm just saying, I just want to cut the facts down to the bone, because unless you make something transparent and make it visible, they're going to say, oh, we never know that you guys wanted anything from us, because America is a land of milk and honey. Dr. Smith, I thank you so much for spending this short period with me. When you get back from Jamaica after your next mission, then we're going to sit down and talk about what you did. My media print partner is the New York Herald News, Carl and Dr. Faye Rodney, Carl and Faye Rodney. They do the print media while I do the audio and the video. So that is how we are structured. So any article any release, any summation that you might have of what you do, including identifying the people who participate on these missions. That for me is one of the most important things, because I think that there are some people out there, because they don't see people being recognized, they do not think they should get on board, because nobody don't appreciate them.
That's true. That is so very true.
So I am letting you know that I am on board with Atlanta, Montego-based sister cities. Send me all your material for the events that are coming up so I can get them out there. And,
I will.
And
September 20th. I'm going to send you the flyer for that one. It's going to be at the Marriott Marquis from 7 till 1. And that's our annual gala, and it's our cancer awareness fundraising. Okay. Well, let me say thank you so much on behalf of the SosoBone Media Network, SosoFat TV, and MK Designs and Marenga Young, who are among all the
supporters that supports this network. And we are looking forward to doing some long-term marketing for the Atlanta Montego Bay sister cities. Thank you
Thank you
so
so much for having me. It's been fun
Okay,
talking
and
with you.
it's a pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you so much.